अरहंत सिद्ध अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम इससे काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहत है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। ओ वो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So today is our last class on sequence bound modification, and hope you have been studying at home also. And if you have any questions, you can raise in the class or you can ask me later on also. I'll make you a host.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Make it on Rajshri Shah, sir. So it will be easy for me.
But here I can see only one.
My husband's name.
Yeah, okay, fine.
My husband's name. It's an iPad. I thought I'd share it from the phone because both together is a little difficult for me.
So now I have made you a host, okay?
Yeah, I'll join, sir.
No problem. So I'll make you a host here again.
You can make me a course on this.
Okay, fine.
It's echoing.
So if you mine is also getting echo. So you have to close one of these. Either you close this one or that one. Then the echo will not happen. Or otherwise you have to mute both the ones.
Yeah. I will leave it. Yeah, I'll leave that. I'll do like yesterday. So I'll just get it. Nobody has joined in, sir.
No problem. We both of us are there. So more than enough, they will catch up on recording. Today is our class, so we need to finish this last two modules, 30 and 31. Yesterday also we were discussing about omniscience, and we have seen that the omniscient being has been called the root of religion, because whatever we know in terms of religion, it is through all omniscience divine sound. So if the omniscient would not have been there, we would not have known that we are a soul. We would not have known that how we are suffering, and we would not have known the path of liberation. How do we get liberated? So everything in Jainism is based on omniscient being. Okay. And initially we started with how the omniscient being's substance, attributes, and modifications are. And then we compared that with our substance, attributes, and modification. And that's how we get rid of delusion. Okay. Then we also discussed about the nature of omniscience, which is very, very important if we want to accept the principle of sequence bound modification, because omniscience and sequence bound modification are both linked to one another, both connect to one another. So we have to understand the nature of omniscience first, then only based on him we can have faith on sequence bound modification principle. And if we don't have the faith, then we won't be able to understand this sequence bound modification. So today, that discussion, we will take it further about the omniscient. And today's heading is page number 78. सर्वज्ञता के निर्णय की अनिवार्यता. Decision of omniscience is mandatory.
Is it okay, sir?
Yes,
coming?
yes.
I can make
Yeah,
it.
it's coming. You just can make it, enlarge it a bit.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll start with their first point, some people. So there are 4 points to discuss on this module number 30. And it begins with that some people, who are these some people? The ignorant being. Okay. The ignorant being has all the problems and the questions. Okay. And the learned one keeps on enjoying. So some people object to why we attach the principle of sequence bound modification with the concept of the omniscient being. They ask us to establish the principle directly without the help of omniscient being. In fact, we do not so attach it. It is itself attached. It is both are connected. If you want to make a decision on sequence bound modification, you have to make a decision on omniscience. And if you want to make a decision on omniscience, you have to make a decision on sequence bound modification. And both of these could be understood when our active consciousness leans towards ourself. Okay. That is the time we realize ourselves. That is the time we experience ourselves. And that is the time we truly understand the principle of sequence bound modification and the nature of omniscience. So both are connected. Okay. In fact, we do not so attach it. It is itself attached, because without the faith in omniscience, the faith in the sequence bound modification is not possible. And without the faith in the sequence bound modification, the faith in omniscience is not possible. So both are connected. So we need to have faith in omniscience first to know the principle of sequence bound modification. Though the principle of sequence bound modifications can be established without taking recourse to the omniscient being, we have already established it on the foundation of the nature of things. Why this craze to separate it from omniscience? So we have established on the foundation of nature of things that was based on Pravachan when we discussed 4 exposition and sequence bound modification. At that time, under the heading of Dravyan Yog, we discussed Pravachan Sarji's verse number 99. And there we already established the sequence bound modification on the basis of nature of things. There we did not took the help of omniscience. But again, the question is that how do you know the relationship between substance, attributes, and modification? How do you know that there are 6 kinds of substances in the universe? How do you know that there are 7 fundamentals only? All these has come from omniscience only. So directly or indirectly, we have to have faith in omniscience, and based on that, we will be able to understand the principle of Jainism. Okay. So there are 2 parts to this first point, 1A and 1B. 1A, one of the reasons why sequence bound modification has been based on omniscience is that omniscience in Jain philosophy is acceptable to all. सर्वज्ञता सब कोई मानते हैं, भगवान को सब कोई मानते हैं. So if we say something based on that, then people are ready to accept that very conveniently. The second reason is that this sequence bound modification principle is very subtle. Okay, it's very subtle. Ordinary people cannot understand it, or can understand it with great difficulty. So it is very subtle. It is not easily comprehensible. Okay. So here the author gives an example. I ask you to establish the existence of 1 lakh yojan high Sumeru Parvat, Sumeru Mount, without the base of omniscience. How do you know that it is 1 lakh yojan, which is a very vast figure which we with our limited knowledge we cannot comprehend it. So it is based on omniscience only that we know that Sumeru Mount is of 1 lakh yojan height. So all our scriptures are also based on omniscient being. So the principle of sequence bound modification is very subtle, and when we cannot able to accept the height of Sumeru Mount as 1 lakh yojan, so how do you expect that we can understand this principle of sequence bound modification based without the base of omniscience? Now the next question is in the same topic, 1b only. We are still continuing with point 1. The author is asking, do you have faith in omniscience and the scriptures professed by the omniscient being? If it is there, then why such objection? Why this craze to ask us to abandon the support of omniscience? It appears that you yourself do not have complete faith in omniscience, or that the nature of omniscience is not very clear in your vision, and you do not also have the courage to deny omniscience. Therefore, on one pretext or the other, you want to get rid of this powerful instrument. If you had the nature of omniscience clear in your vision and you had faith also in that, the principle of sequence bound modification would have been easily acceptable to you. Then it would not have been necessary to question why we take recourse to omniscience in establishing the principle of sequence bound modifications. We may for a minute leave the principle of sequence bound modification. Even then, we shall have to establish omniscience. Without that, the nature of true God, scriptures, and monks would not be made clear and acceptable. So the second point has started. The second point is about that if we don't accept omniscience, how can we accept the nature of true God, true scriptures, and true monks? Because true gods are also omniscient only. Okay. So if we do not accept the omniscience, then how do we accept true God, true scriptures, and true monks? Have those who raise the slogan of protecting the true God, scriptures, and monks ever cared to understand their real nature? No. Can one understand or explain the true nature of the God, the scriptures, and the monks without understanding omniscience? No. So, do the guardians of scriptures need to be told that the first condition of the scripture is their being professed by an omniscient being? Such religious texts are full of innumerable declarations of definite futurity, and this only omniscience knows. So we have to accept omniscience to understand the real nature of true God, true scriptures, and true monks. The third point, it's all about Karnan Yoga, exposition on technical matters, exposition on the karma theory. Can we prove a single truth of Karnan Yoga and explain it without the omniscient professed scriptures? Because as you know that in Karnan Yoga, all things that are mentioned in Karnan Yoga are based on omniscience knowledge. Okay. The whole karma theory, the karmas are so subtle that we cannot comprehend by our limited sensory and scriptural knowledge. Okay. Because the omniscient sees those karmas and their divisions and subdivisions and the process of bondage. Okay. These are all very, very subtle topics. And this is written in the scriptures based on omniscient being only. Okay. So to accept the facts about Karnan Yoga, we have to have faith on omniscience. Will you be able to establish the existence of the 8 karmas? Okay. So there are 10 10 कर्मों के 10 अवस्था. There are 10 conditions of karmas. Okay. Those are, first one is existence. Then the second one is the bondage. They are setting with the soul, that is bondage. The third one is their appearance. Appearance means the rise of the karma. Third point. Fourth point is their alterations. So alterations here means udirna. Udirna means manifested prematurely. So there are some karmas, because of the instrumentation of our sentiments, they get manifested prematurely. That is the fourth condition of karma. The fifth one, which is not written here, you can put a arrow and write it, transformation. In Hindi, it is called sankraman. So you may have bound many inauspicious karma, but now if your life has changed and you are living your life as per Jain philosophy, then automatically your inauspicious karma gets converted to auspicious karma. Okay. So this transformation is the fifth point. Then the sixth point, increase or decrease in their tenure. Okay. So that is sixth and seventh. Increase means utkarshan and decrease mean upkarshan. So when you are manifesting good sentiments, your auspicious karmas gets increased and your inauspicious karmas get decreased. And it is the quite the opposite, vice versa. So this is sixth and seventh, and then there are other changes connected with them without the support of scriptures. So without the support of scriptures, we cannot know these 10 conditions of karmas. Now these 10 conditions, we have discussed 7, 8, 9, 10. What is 8? 8 is suppression, upsham. Ninth is nidati, tighter. And 10th is nikachit, tightest. Okay. So once the nikachit karmas are bound, it cannot be reduced, altered, converted, premature, nothing will happen. It will come and you have to suffer because of that. That is why we see that even the Tirthankars have upsarg. Okay, they have infliction of pains on them. Why? Because there are some karmas which Tirthankar also cannot reduce, convert, or transform, okay, or manifest it prematurely. So that has to come. And then there are some karmas called nidati. Nidati is tighter and nikachit is tightest. So in tighter, there are still some changes possible, but not like the tightest. Okay. So these are the 10, and these are all based on the knowledge of omniscience, and omniscience has written those scriptures of Karnan Yoga based on omniscience knowledge. The scriptures has been written by acharyas. So these are all very subtle things, and without the support of omniscience, we cannot comprehend these. Likewise, what will be the basis of establishing the modification of adhakaran, apurvakaran, and anivrtikaran? So these are three types of manifestations that happens in 6 cases, 6 different cases. One of the, when you attain right belief, at that point in time also these 3 manifestations are there. And it is there in another 5 places also. This we will study when we study in the 6th Sem Gunasthan. Okay, so we leave it that. But these are 3 kinds of sentiments of a soul. And these are very subtle. And this can be known on the basis of omniscience only. Why did not the question of establishing all these and other concepts without the support of omniscience arise while studying or teaching these and other concepts? Why this new question today? Why you are asking me to remove the support of omniscience while explaining principle of sequence bound modification, when all these concepts are based on omniscience only, omniscience only. Okay. So that was the third point. Now, fourth point. as already explained, the omniscient being. So the fourth point is about the nature of omniscience. So if you want to become God, you have to first understand what is Godhood, how it is attained, and Jain philosophy not only talks about the soul attaining Godhood, but it also shows the path of attaining Godhood. Okay, how do we attain it? It also shows that. It also encourages worldly beings to follow that path and assures that those who follow this path will definitely attain Godhood. Okay, it is not necessary to understand the nature of Godhood before attaining it. It is quite mandatory to understand the nature of Godhood. Okay, so that's why it was discussed here in the principle of sequence bound modification. If it is there, why this insistence on stopping to talk about omniscience? The Acharyas have propounded not only sequence bound modification but all the principles of Jainism on the basis of omniscience. How can we abandon that solid support? Okay. Further giving references, this is the last point, so there will be some more discussion on this. It is not necessary to know and to experience our own soul for attaining Godhood. It's quite necessary. Acharya Kunkun has very clearly stated that one who knows the Aryans in respect of their substance, attributes, and modification knows his own soul, and one who knows his own soul destroys his delusion. Okay. So the above statement clearly asserts that knowing our soul is very essential for the destruction of delusion, and knowing the Aryans is very necessary to know our own souls. So we cannot ignore omniscience. We cannot ignore the knowledge of omniscience. We are connected with all the concepts of Jainism because of omniscience only. Mute yourself, Chaitanya Prakash ji. Yeah. Can we protect the God, the scriptures, and the monks without understanding their nature? No, it is not possible. In fact, they are quite safe in their nature and do not need our protection. If we want to protect ourselves, we must understand their nature. Therein lies our own safety and the safety of our religion. Those who talk about the protection of religion should consider these principles. So the principles on omniscience and the principles on sequence bound modification, they are both connected, and without the support of omniscience, we cannot explain the principle of sequence bound modification. Kunkunda Acharyadev in his 82nd verse of Pravachan Sarji declares, all the Aryan Bhagwans attend Nirvana, destroying the karmas in the same manner and have preached the same path of Godhood. Our solution to such Aryantas. Okay. So if the Aryantans would not have been there, we would not have known the path of liberation. We would not have known the path to destroy these 8 karmas. Okay. So the support and the support of omniscience is very, very useful in the path of liberation. Further, it states that they attain nirvana by the method of enunciated by the methods enunciated in the 80 and 81st verse of Pravachan Sarji and preach the same. It has been explained in these 2 verses that one who knows the Aryant in respect of their substance, attributes, and modification knows his own soul, and one who knows his own soul, his delusion disappears. That is, he attains complete detachment and omniscience. So this is the method of attaining omniscience. All the Arihant attained omniscience with this method only and preached the same. In the commentary of the 82nd verse of Pravachan Sarji, Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev has emphatically asserted that it is impossible to have any other alternate method of attaining omniscience. Okay. So there is no way. Only Jainism advocates the attaining of godhood. No other religion helps you in making yourself God. Their limitation is up to that they make you a devotee only. Okay. But here Jainism states as that you can also become God. Have belief in yourself and you can become a God. So there is no any other alternate method to attain godhood or omniscience. So finally, Acharya Amritchandra Dev in the same 82nd verse says, let there be no more exposition and discussion. Okay. No more discussion. We have discussed enough. Enough is enough. My understanding has become systematized. Now, this is very important. The structure of the universe is very well organized, but our understanding is not organized. That's why we are finding faults everywhere. We are not ready to accept the principle of sequence bound modification. Okay. So we have to understand we have to improve, we have to organize our own understanding. Okay. The universe is totally organized. It is functioning independently without any support, without any manager. Okay. So our understanding has to be systematized to understand this principle. In the introduction of the 82nd verse, he further says, this is the only path of spiritual progress as experienced and shown by the omniscient being. Thus, I have systematized my own understanding. So you see, this is the end of module number 30. There were 4 points and it all states one thing, the importance of omniscience. Okay. So you have to understand the nature of omniscience, and then only you can understand the principle of sequence bound modification. And not that principle only, all other concepts in Jainism is based on omniscience. Okay. So if you don't know the nature of omniscience, you will not be ready to accept those principles. So it is very, very mandatory to understand the nature of omniscience. Any questions on this topic? Otherwise, we'll move to the last topic.
No, sir, it's clear. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No, sir.
Last module, module number 31. In Hindi, the heading is Avyavasthit Mati or Swachalit Vyavastha. Avyavasthit Mati, unsystematized understanding, and Swachalit Vyavastha, self-conducted system. So this is the last topic. There are two components to this. One is our understanding and other the universal system, self-conducted universal system, which is in auto mode. There is no controller, manager, destroyer, creator, God anywhere. Okay. Jain philosophy believes that there is no creator God. Okay. And our gods are completely detached. They don't have attachment that they will do something for their devotees. Okay. And our omniscient gods are all omniscient also. That means they know everything. Okay. So they don't say any untruth and they don't and they advocate complete detachment. Okay. So the heading would be unsystematized understanding and the self-conducted system. So the world is the self-conducted system, the universe is the self-conducted system, and our understanding is not in order. So we are finding everything in the universe in orderly manner. Okay. And once we systematize our understanding, everything whatever we know, whatever we see, whatever we encounter, whatever it gets reflected in our knowledge, everything is in order. And when you perceive it that way, then there is no rise of attachments or aversions. Okay. So this is the last topic, very interesting. The first point says that the ignorant being believes that the world is in disorder. In reply to that, the author says that no, it is not in disorder, but it is in perfectly order. Okay. The second point to be discussed in point number 1 is our understanding should be made orderly. It is our understanding that we need to mend. There is nothing to mend in the universe. It is going on very smoothly, very well organized, very well systematically. Okay. You are just a knower. You are not a doer. So don't become a doer or a manager. You just remain a knower, and then you will find that everything is happening orderly. There cannot be injustice. There cannot be any injustice being done to anybody in the universe. Whatever is happening is very correct and justified. Okay. So there is no scope of complaint. The ignorant being is always complaining, and the enlightened one is always happy. He always finds a solution to his problem. He is never complaining. Okay. So now if you want to become an enlightened one, if you want to have manifest right faith, right belief, then you have nothing to complain. You comprehend everything, you understand everything, you understand the order of the world, and you will find that everything is happening perfectly. Okay. So this is the first point on this last topic, module number 31. Heading would be unsystematized understanding and self-conducted system. What is it they want to convey here? I will just read the first 2 paragraphs, which is point number 1. Then there will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So total there are 7 points. So this is the first point. Now what it says, one whose understanding is unsystematized. Whose understanding is unsystematized? Ignorant beings. Okay. Sees the whole world in a disorder. Because his vision is unsystematized, so he looks every object in disorder. Just as a man sitting in a running train sees the earth, it would not be earth, sees the land moving round. Okay. Actually, the train is moving, the land is not moving. But because of delusion and illusion, he believes that the land is moving. But when he thinks over the situation intelligently, he knows that the earth, not the earth, land, you correct it. The land is stationary in its own place. He is himself moving. Okay. In the same manner, to persons with disorderly understanding, the whole world appears disorderly. You know, when somebody gets a jaundice, he sees everything as yellowish. Everything yellowish. Those are not yellowish, but because he is suffering from jaundice, he sees everything in yellow color only. Okay. Similarly, in the same manner, the persons with disorderly understanding, the persons having wrong faith, okay, the whole world appears disorderly to him. If such people think deeply, they will surely come to the conclusion that the world has not to be made orderly. It is already orderly. You need not do anything in the world. It is running very smoothly and very organized way. It is already orderly. They have to make their own understanding orderly. Okay. So this is one part of the topic. that we have to make our understanding orderly. And how we can make our understanding orderly? Can anyone give me a good answer? Priyanka ji.
By understanding, by understanding the fundamentals, the
Good.
7 fundamentals, and
Yes.
understanding the fundamentals of sequence bound modification, that everything is bound to happen or was meant to happen. So
Hmm.
that ways we think in an orderly fashion and not think
Right. So
like,
then
this
this
came
is
out.
one principle. Then you have to know substance, attributes, modification. Then you have to know the functioning of the universe through 6 kinds of substances. Then you have to know the principle of uh,
So
what
karmas,
principles of karmas. Then you have to know the principle of 5
samvai.
no 5 yeah 5 samvai also, and 5 distinct disposition. Okay, we already studied that. Parinamic
So sorry,
bhav,
what was that?
5 distinct disposition. This was the your CC1.
So maybe I did not join when this was
CC1.
done.
This was the homework given to you. You have already submitted 5
Oh,
distinctive
the
dispositions. Tattva part 1. Opshamik, Shayopshamik, Odaik, Parinamic, all the 5 kinds of disposition. Okay. So we
okay.
have to understand this principle, and then only our understanding becomes orderly. These people with unsystematic understanding are engaged in systematizing the whole world because they themselves are unsystematic. There is a problem in their mind. They have a false belief and they want to systemize the whole world. है ना, पूरी दुनिया सुधारने की उनके माथे पे जिम्मेदारी है. The more they try to absolve themselves of this undertaking, the more entangled they become. जितना सुलझना चाहते हैं उतना ही और उलझ जाते हैं. Okay. The reason is that they do not try to see where absence of orderliness lies, and where things are completely orderly, no change is possible. Okay. What is the reason of their entanglement? That they do not try to see where the absence of orderliness lies. What is in disorderly manner? Your understanding or the world's or the self-conducted system of the world? What is in disorder? So the understanding is in disorder, and the self-conducted system of the world is in perfect order. No injustice takes place anywhere. Okay. Because it is our past karma that has come into fruition. So how it could be injustice? Everything is justified. So if we understand this, if we are able to comprehend this, then our life will become blissful, because there is no reason to complain anything. When everything is in perfect order, how you can complain? Okay. But if you don't understand this perfectly order, then you will have 100 reasons to complain. ये अच्छा नहीं पढ़ाते हैं, इसने ये नहीं किया, इसने मेरा बुरा कर दिया, इसने अच्छा कर दिया. You have lots of excuses. Okay. Just because your understanding is not systematic. Okay. So you have to mend your system. Everything else is beyond our control, and it is very well organized and managed. Okay. It is on automation mode. There is no controller, creator, manager, destroyer, nothing. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Brahma is supposed to be the creator. Then Vishnu is the manager, and Mahesh or Shankar is the destroyer. That is in the worldly system. Okay. But as far as Jainism is concerned, there is no creator, no manager, and no destroyer. Everything is happening independently on its own. everything is in auto mode. Okay. The more they try to absolve themselves of this undertaking, the more they entangled they become. The reason is that they do not try to see where absence of orderliness lies. And where things are completely orderly, no change is possible. Because if it is in order, why do you need to change it? They are restless in becoming managers. They are impatient in becoming managers of things and will continue to so as long as they do not make their own understanding suitable to the scheme and nature of things. Okay. So they become manager and they experience impatience and restlessness, and they continue to do so until until their understanding improves, okay, according to the nature of things. That is the end of point number 1. The second point about unsystematized understanding and self-conducted system is the understanding of those who are smarting under the pride of doing things. They become a doer. They have this pride that I am doing all these things. And affecting changes in them can never become systematic. Their pride stops them for being systematic because they have this pride that they are doing these things. Mad after becoming the managers of the affairs of this world, they cannot accept that this world is itself well organized and managed. Okay. So the second point is that world is self-organized and managed. Okay. You would not have to become manager and control the affairs of this world. It is automatically being done. But this ignorant being try to become the managers. Third point, they have this mindset that if they believe that everything is orderly, then what they will do? Okay, their doership will disappear. So they are not ready to accept that and they remain its manager. Third point, okay. Now we'll read the third point. If such people accept the world as orderly, how can they remain its managers, and whose managers will they continue to remain? Okay. It is necessary that the world remain disorderly so that they may continue to think that they have to manage it. Okay. Otherwise, whose management will they think they are doing and what will they do? This is the reason these so-called managers do not accept the well-organized management of the world, for their pride is hurt and their right to management is taken away from them. The manager must have a mismanaged or unmanaged world. They want a mismanaged and unmanaged world whose management he must take up and continue to be its manager with dignity. Okay. So they don't want to become idle. They want to be very active and they believe that they can manage things and they can manage the world. This is the reason why the world does not understand the very definite self-conducted system. This is the reason that the worldly people are not able to accept the principle of sequence-bound modification. Because if they accept it, then their doership disappears and they don't want to do that. They want to remain the managers. Okay. So they are not able to understand and accept the very definite self-conducted system of the universe. And its own understanding remains unchanged. They still remain a doer. Without the faith of sequence-bound modification and omniscience, the understanding cannot become balanced. So you see, everywhere balance is very important. Okay. So the balance between the faith of sequence-bound modification and omniscience is very necessary. Okay. Otherwise, you will have doubts and confusions every now and then, and your life will become miserable. Okay. Fourth point, it is about the self-conducted system, and they've given a very good example. The fourth point, however honest the manager, the system created by a manager can never become completely organized. Okay. If you appoint a manager to manage a system, it will not become completely organized, right and just. Self-conducted system can alone be completely systematic, correct, and just. Now we have a robot performing complicated operations in the medical science. Why? Because there is always a possibility of human error. Okay. But if it is self-conducted system, if it is all very organized by artificial intelligence, then it can perform in a perfect manner. And that is how the modern medical science sees the way going forward. There will be a lot of artificial intelligence being used in the medical world to detect the diseases quite in advance. Okay. So all these things are there. So the self-conducted system is the best, and it is complete, systematic, and correct and just. Take for an example, there is a washing machine in which you have to put 1 rupee coin, say, and get your weight done. Okay. Now, if it is an automatic machine, you will get all the money. The owner of that machine will get all the revenue that people have used to know their weights. But if it is given to manually to a manager, then what he will do? He will do his own weight and will not put the money in the cash box. His relatives will come and do the weight, and they will not put the money in the cash box. So ultimately, the owner will get less than what he would have deserved. But if he installs that automatic machine, then he will be very much sure that he will get all the money of the people who has done weight in that machine. Okay. So the conclusion is that self-conducted system alone is true and correct, but the so-called manager will not accept it because he becomes unemployed. His pride of doing is smashed and rights snatched away. Okay. And he doesn't want to do that way. This is the reason why his understanding does not become orderly. Okay. So this is the main problem. The past impressions that we have of doership is very difficult to get rid of. We need constant hammering of this knowledges, of this scriptural knowledge, reading, understanding, thinking, right? We need this constant hammering. Then only our past impressions will get eradicated and we will be able to understand and accept the principle of sequence bound modification and omniscience and other principles of Jainism. Okay. There is no possibility of dishonesty in systematized system. Okay. If you have installed a machine, there will not be dishonesty. That is the reason why those who decide to complete their work before time, disturbing the established order of things, do not accept the already systematized system of the scheme of things. Okay. Those who are impatient and those who want to complete their work before time, okay, they are not able to accept the systematized system of nature of things. There cannot be any justice in the nature of things. Nature of things is absolutely perfect and systematized, and nobody, even the Tirthankars, also cannot change it. The next point is the fifth point. Okay, you must be marking in your textbook. Fifth point.
Sir,
Yeah.
So can I ask a question?
Yes, yes.
So, like just speaking of systematized,
Hmm.
and again, like the whole topic is about orderly fashion, like
Hmm.
everything's happening like that.
Hmm.
So, sir, how much is that? Just out of curiosity, then people they used to think like palmistry and astrology.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
They say that आगे का पता हो सकता है. Now, in between, people used to say like it's just a myth. There's no
Hmm.
way someone can foresee the future.
Right,
And some people they who meditate a lot, or some gurus they say
right,
they
right.
have some clairvoyance, a little,
Hmm.
not too
Hmm.
much.
Hmm. Hmm.
So then in that sense, is that actually true? Like like some people who are able to predict.
Hmm. Pardon?
So some people who are able to predict,
Yes, yes.
kundli and all that stuff
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about,
Right,
in
right.
marriage and all. So, sir,
Hmm.
what relevance does that have in when we speak of sequence-bound modification? Like, because that is a Hindu concept.
Yes, yes.
Jainism doesn't have Kundli and
Jainism doesn't have Kundli and all, but the 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 science of astrology is Jainism accepts that, and there have been acharyas who have written scriptures on astrology, and even the graha system and all these are also accepted in Jainism. But the thing is that if you are able to understand the principle of sequence bound modification, okay, then what is the point in believing those things? Because those things, astrology and palmist and all these are science, we don't deny uh, their logics and the reasons that they give. Okay, we don't deny that. But having said that, whatever has to happen has happened. There was a very famous astrologer many years ago. In Times of India, there used to be a column, and I don't remember the name of that astrologer, but he was a very famous. And in one of his
Baijan Daruwala.
Benjamin Daruwala.
maybe that one.
Ba-
And there was an interview on him, and he said that whatever has to happen has to happen. Uh, can you change it? So he said, no, we cannot change it. Then what is the use of these predictions and all? So that we believe that something is going to happen after 6 months. To carry that person for another 6 months, we give them hope that you do this, this will happen, this will happen. And with that hope, the time period of 6 months easily gets passed, and then that the things happen. And then that fellow believes that just because he has predicted it has happened. But it was to happen that way. So only that much we can help. Otherwise, there is no power or nothing in our hand that we can do any changes. And those predictions are very relative. It can also, depending on your karmas, those predictions also gets changed. Okay. So
But sir,
there are a
in
lot of
that
other
case,
factors involved in those theories.
sir, the karmas change. But sir,
Right.
even the time when the karmas will change, or which karmas will change, even
Hmm.
that is sequence bound, no, sir?
Yeah, yeah, everything is sequence bound. It is not that we are not accepting those things. But the thing is that if you enter in uh, those philosophies of astrology and palmist and kundli and all, you will become dependent on it.
Correct.
You will not have the courage to face the realities of life. Okay. You will indulge in kudev kuguru kusastra that leads us to a wrong god, wrong scriptures and wrong monk, kudev kuguru kusastra. And then you just become dependent. One of my friends recently called me up and he said that there was a vastu consultant recommended by one of my friend, and he came to my place and he's told me that this should not be here, this should not be here. So he, you will not prosper this way and that and all that. So he's a friend of mine since 40 years. We know each other since 40 years. So I said, ki earlier you were living in one room, and today you have a 4-bedroom hall, kitchen, flat, and so much of other wealth. So from there to here, this journey, you came without any Vastu corrections. And now, just because you have enough money and he is just uh, uh, creating a fear in your mind and just asking for money. So he said you have to spend 1,50,000 to mend these irregularities in your Vastu, in the flat. So I said, do nothing. Stop calling him and stop attending his call, and everything will be fine. So very logical, no? So from 1-room kitchen to 4-bedroom, no Vastu came in between. And now just he has so much of wealth, that fellow is putting me in fear. And most of the people don't want to give up. So they all end up in believing this directly or indirectly. Even they are Jains, okay? So they don't believe. But we never indulge in these things, because even if we know that something is going to happen me tomorrow, what I can do?
Yeah.
Let explore it. Let the interest of life be there, and let's us explore it. No,
Sir,
let's face it.
so this is one way, like, this is the forward way of looking at it. So the other example I was thinking, uh, like, uh, like I said, like 2 years ago, my dad passed away.
Hmm.
So I feel like, that time we didn't kind of have any of this, knowledge
Hmm.
that everything is predetermined and all. Like we
Hmm.
had just vaguely heard it as a
Hmm.
philosophy from somewhere here and there.
Hmm.
Now, if I think about it while we are studying this chapter, I feel like if I knew about this,
Yes.
possibly I would have known, okay, my dad is likely to not live more than a year.
Hmm.
Maybe my efforts would have been channeled more towards ki,
Making him understand. Yeah.
making him making him understand, making ourselves understand, and
Right.
also the after effect and the shock that comes after the demise, that
Hmm.
just whoa, like what happened. And
Hmm.
also, sir, like Janice, like we didn't do a lot of puja, we didn't do like shanti part or this and
Right.
that, and then
Vidhan.
I
Vidhan.
Vidhan.
Santi
And I
Vidhan.
just always, yeah, I always feel like, we were constantly chasing like ICU and this and that, like, which
Hmm.
was not the right effort, as we say.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it just sometimes comes to my mind, like, what if I'm again missing out on something? Something, if it
Hmm.
is definite, it is definitely there, but not blindly, like, wasting money on, like, Vastu. And it's very hard
My
to tell, like,
advice is, don't get to it in any way. It is
okay.
not, it is not correct. It is all, uh, the science is correct, but the people propagating those are just, they want to get money. Either they are interested in getting money, or they are interested in getting fame. Somebody does it voluntarily also without charging anything. So for them, people
So they
making
are
a
doing it
queue
for
at their home.
practice.
Yeah, they are doing it for their time pass and for their own fame and all. Some people like to be
Yeah.
appreciated every now and then. And if you do something for free, of course, people will appreciate, such and such. So they like those appreciative words. So then they do it. But the thing is that your dad has not died. Your dad was a soul, and soul never dies. This is the truth. And based on this truth, if you would have known these principles, you will even not feel shocked, or even not, you would not have cried also. Understand? It's just a change of life. The soul continues its journey. Soul never dies. So what is the point in what has happened has happened? What is the point in manifesting this toxic emotions, crying and becoming sad, and In the same situation, you can be happy by understanding these principles. And when somebody dies in our home, we always have Mrityu Mahotsav. Samadhi Maran, So Samadhi Maran, what is this Samadhi Maran? Samadhi Maran is that you leave your body in a happy state. And that preparation has to be there beforehand to get that conclusion. Okay. Recently in Dadar, Shanti ji, Shanti uncle, you must be knowing very closely. Vijay ji is very close to him and they are the trustees there. So he was having cancer. Okay. And there was chemo and all has happened. And then his son Sheetal's friend is a doctor, very cancer specialist. And he told me that there is not much time after this. So you better take him home and give him whatever instructions, preachings you want to give. And they took him home and he remained he lived for another 1 month. But in those 1 month, they were always doing Swadhyay and he died peacefully.
So that's what I meant. Like I just that opportunity was not there, sir. So
It is like that. The moment you know the truth, then it is fine. So from time immortal, we were ignorant being. Only in this birth we are having access to this, all this. Otherwise, we would have been suffering since time immemorial. It is not that there is a beginning of the soul. We are there since time immemorial. Okay. So all these things, as you go on understanding these concepts one by one, you will realize that there is nothing in this universe to feel sad. Everything is happening in orderly manner. Even tomorrow, if your child does not clear the exam, you have no reason to be sad, to feel sad. You to just accept whatever is happening in our life, you accept it and be happy. Okay? Because there is no reason to feel sad, because everything happens in orderly only. There is nothing that anybody is doing harm to you. There is nothing that somebody is doing partiality to you. Somebody is not favoring to you. Nothing doing. It's just all our mindset. And we need to change that mindset according to the nature of things. Nature of things that says that there is never an injustice being done to anybody, anywhere, anytime. Okay? द्रव्य क्षेत्र काल भाव, nothing. दुनिया में कभी भी किसी के साथ अन्याय नहीं होता है, सब कुछ न्याय होता है. Then you will say, no, there was a rape case on Nirbhaya many years ago, maybe 5-10 years ago, and there was a lot of So, but if you understand this philosophy, you know that she has done bad karmas in her previous life, and that's why those persons were unknown to her and they inflicted pain on her. It's not happening unnecessarily. It is all his past karma that has come into fruition. So there is never an injustice being done anywhere. Just accept it and you will have no reason to complain any sort. You will always be happy. Okay? And you have to take things in that way. At no point of time we should manifest passions, okay, unnecessarily. There is no need. If you are able to comprehend the things that are happening, you will find that there is no reason to manifest passion, toxic emotion in any manner. And if you are able to do this, then you are a right believer. Okay? Right believer never becomes sad. He always finds a way to be happy in whatever situations that happens. Even our monk, when there is an upsar going on, they never become unhappy. They still remain concentrated in their self. And that is how the 3 Pandavas got liberation. And the 2 had this thought that what would have been happening to the elder brothers. And with that thought, they went to heavenly, they become heavenly beings and got a life of 33 sagar. which is a long period. So there is no reason to feel sad. Okay.
Sir, just practically, sir, if you are in your day-to-day life, if
Mhm.
you feel like कुछ भी sir, just example. So what do you do? Sir, आता मुझे तो आता रहता है. I'll be very honest with you.
So
In
आता तो
in a
सबके
day
साथ है,
आता रहता
आते तो सबके साथ,
है.
but you know, when you perform a drama, before that you practice, right? So when there is no problem, you practice. You pick up the newspaper and you see some event that there is an accident happen and that fellow suffered. You put yourself in that place. You know the word empathy,
Yeah.
sympathy and empathy. Okay. So you practice empathy. It's a very powerful tool to bring happiness. Put yourself in his footstep, in his foot. Okay. And you see the situation from his perspective. And then you make a decision that what would you have done if this would have happened to you. So these are the rehearsals that you do, and when the actual situation comes up in your life, you will be able to navigate it. Okay. But if you don't practice it, then how you will navigate at that point of time? Because something comes gradually, it doesn't come overnight. So this is the hard work that you are doing. You will be studying it 5 years, and 5 years down the line, you will not have any kind of problems. It has been 2 years since you have joined these studies, and you can always make a difference your life between 2 years ago and now. So how that difference has come? What is the change in perspective that you have attained? It's just because of the knowledge. This knowledge slowly creeps in. Okay. And whatever is your delusion, that slowly goes off. And this is a gradual process. So it may take some time, but ultimately you will be successful and you will have a very blissful life in the present. And the future is very bright that you will get liberated. You will never get a female birth again. If you are able to manifest right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct, which is quite possible in this life, then you will never get a female life. Okay. And in these present circumstances, if anybody indulges in this kind of studies, then hardly it is 2-3 births only. You get liberated in 2-3 births. Okay. So never worry. We have everything good coming in our life, and just enjoy. Try to understand, put your whole effort, energy in understanding these principles. Wherever you feel there is a doubt, you can always ask, but just put in efforts, and that is all we can do.
Okay,
So
sir.
the fifth point, let me finish this topic today. What can money not do? Okay. So in this fifth point, the strength of the money is shown against the systematic understanding. Okay. What can we not get with money? Money is such a power before which no rule works. All systems are useless before it. I can do whatever I like on the strength of money. This is the belief of a wrong believer. All orders and systems can be changed with money. The understanding of the dishonest world, smarting under such and such other prides, can never be systematized, or can be systematized with great difficulty. Acceptance of a systematized order, that is the sequence bound modification, is not easy for such a world. For such a world means for such people. However, in this human lifespan, the only effort worth doing is to systematize our understanding. So you have to systematize our understanding. Okay. The main cause of sorrow is ignorance. Okay. And the main cause of happiness is our correct understanding. Okay. There is nothing else in between. Now the next point, sixth point. Here the benefits of understanding sequence bound modification is given. There are 5 points given in this paragraph, and then I will add 1 or 2 more. With the acceptance of omniscience and the sequence bound modification, our understanding becomes orderly. First point. Second point, the pride of doing disappears. The pride of doership disappears. Third point, the effort of natural growth of the knower and the seer grows. Okay. So by default, you are a knower and seer, and by effort, the natural growth of the knower and seer. Okay. So you are able to remain a knower and seer in more situations now. Okay. As you study further, your strength to remain a knower and seer grows. Fourth point, the wisdom to make alterations in the scheme of the things stops to operate. ऐसा होना चाहिए, ये नहीं होना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए. All this stops. Okay. All the complaints stops. So that is the fourth point. Fifth point, the consequent restlessness, impatience also disappears, and psychic bliss, eternal bliss with eternal peace grows in the soul. So these are the 5 points given here. And what else you can think of the benefit? One is that your life becomes tension-free, stress-free. There is no stress in life. Stress comes with when you become a doer. Okay. If you become a doer, you will feel stressed. Okay. But if you remain a observer, the stress will not be there. Okay. You remain a knower, stress will. ऐसा हुआ तो भी जाना, ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो भी जाना, हो गया तो भी जाना. You are only a knower. So just accept and enjoy. Okay. Everything is happening in perfect order. There is nothing that is happening in imperfect order. Okay. So if you develop this systematic understanding of the fundamentals of the universe, of the Jain philosophy, then you will never feel sad. Okay. So this makes you tension free. What else? Can you suggest any other advantage of understanding the sequence bound modification, which you have personally realized?
Disease free.
Disease free, right? When you remain happy all the time, the diseases have a direct link with the emotions of the soul. You know, there is an author, Louise Hay. Okay, she has written a very good bestseller book, How to Heal Yourself. And in that, she has given a chart that which disease comes. Now, if you have a problem of acidity, that acidity problem comes from worries. Okay. And worries are because you don't know the fundamentals of the 7 elements. Okay. So this knowledge of Jainism imparts in you to take whatever comes in your life, to feel happy in whatever situations that life throws at you. You are able to remain calm and composed in those difficult situations, and you always find a way to come out of those problems automatically. This is the power of the scriptures, you know. Just read Jinwani again and again, same thing again and again. Every time you read, new things will come to your mind. ये तो पता ही नहीं था, ये तो पता ही नहीं था. Every time you will realize this. So repeated reading will help you. Okay. So these are, you see the benefits. These are some of 5 have been mentioned, and the rest you can add yourself, whatever you have experienced by understanding this principle of sequence bound modification. So many benefits of the faith in omniscience and sequence bound modification are achieved immediately. These are all immediate achievements. After that, when the same soul with its own support develops detachment gradually, a time comes when it itself achieves complete detachment, Purna Vitrakta, and omniscience, Sarvagnata. This is the path of achieving the supreme state of existence in human life. Atma se Paramatma banne ki vidhi. Okay. From an ordinary soul to a supreme soul. This journey you can traverse by understanding the principle of sequence-bound modification and the nature of omniscience. Last point, seventh point. As such, the followers of the path of liberation should anyhow, even at the cost of their lives, try to understand the nature of omniscience. And now one more thing, I will motivate everyone that save enough to retire early and spend time for Jinwani. You know, after all, we have to leave everything here only. And we worry for the kids. But if we train them in this knowledge, their punya will also come. They will also have auspicious karma coming and they will also progress. Okay. So don't worry about anybody. Just understand this and earn enough for you and save enough. A rupee saved is a rupee earned. You know, it is said like that. So develop a habit of savings. So once you have saved substantial amount of money, you can retire and enjoy, spend your time after Jinwani. Okay. And this is quite possible. Now here I am in Sikharji. There is a couple from Jabalpur. He is just, maybe he's in 38, 40 and they have retired. They have no kids. Husband, wife both have retired and they are enjoying life. So if you have a vision, you can do this. Okay. So getting more money and spending time after that is not a good choice. Okay. Instead, save more and when you have enough, you retire and spend time after Jinwani. So that will bring happiness, and this thing you can carry forward in your next birth also. So we had already done some understanding in our previous birth. So again, we got an opportunity here. Okay. And this opportunity will continue. Okay. Your auspicious karmas will also continue. You will get birth in a king's place, you know. So all the right believer gets the post of Chakravarti and Indra and whatnot. So in the present also, we will enjoy our life, and future is also very bright. Very bright means we will get liberated very soon. Okay. So make the maximum of this opportunity that you have got. So after that, when the same soul with its own support develop detachment gradually, a time comes when it itself achieves complete detachment and omniscience. Okay, this is over. Seventh point. Understand the nature of omniscience. This is the conclusion. As such, the followers of the path of liberation should anyhow, even at the cost of their life, try to understand the nature of omniscience. As soon as one understands the real nature of omniscience, the principle of sequence-bound modification is accepted at once. One has not to make separate efforts for that. Okay. Let us, however, remember that omniscience cannot be understood by extrovert vision. Okay. बाह्य दृष्टि से ये समझ में नहीं आएगा. It can also not be understood by the vision directed towards the modification of omniscience. Okay. Even when you look at the modification of omniscience, you will not understand it. It is understood with soul's leaning towards the sentient nature of soul itself. Okay. So our active consciousness has to be leaned towards ourselves, to realize ourselves, to experience ourselves. And that is the time you understand the principle of sequence-bound modification. That is the time you understand the nature of omniscience. Okay. So everything begins with the right belief. Soul-oriented self-effort is essential for understanding the true nature of omniscience. This is the only way to understand the truth of the sequence-bound modification of substances. May all creatures of this world realize their self by understanding the true nature of the principle of sequence-bound modifications and omniscience. May they realize eternal peace and spiritual bliss, and may they, in course of time, become perfectly happy by becoming omniscient themselves. With this wishful reflection, I take rest. So this is the end of our topic on sequence-bound modification. Now, after this, in part 2, there are 20 questions. Okay, how many questions? 20 questions. You just go through it, and next week we will connect with few of the questions. Okay, few of the important questions. Okay, so that we will do during the next Tuesday, and the next Wednesday we will be doing. Then after this part 2, there is an interview of Kanji Swami. Okay, so we will take some questions from there also, and we will also learn about 6 attributes of the soul, which are primarily responsible for understanding the sequence bound modification. Okay, 6 attributes of the soul. Okay, and I will share that script from one other book, the guidebook of this, okay, by Pandit Abhay Kumar ji. In there, that 6 attributes are mentioned, and it's only 1 page only. I will share, I will take a photo. It's in Hindi. I will take a photo and share it. So if anybody can translate into English, please try. Otherwise, I will make you understand in English from directly Hindi only. Okay. So this next week would be our last class, and then subsequently after Diwali, Vijal ji will take up the paper 3. Okay. So next week would be our last class, Tuesday and Wednesday, same time. Till then, just go through these topics, and I have mentioned modules numbers for your CC2. Okay. 4 expositions, module is 8 to 12. And for self-effort, it is 26, 27, 28. Okay. So this much you can read and prepare the concept clarity paper 2. Okay. And
So
the
can you
last,
repeat it? Repeat, it's a module number.
I
Eight
have,
to-
I have posted in
written
the
it?
group. I have posted
Okay.
in the group. You just check it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Because your question was there and I was not having access to the textbook at that point of time, so I could not answer. So today, when I read this, I have posted in the group. Okay. So you prepare the concept clarity paper 2, and you also read the 20 questions and the subsequent very short interview of Kanji Swami. So that will help further in your understanding the principle of sequence bound modification, and the 1 page that I will share with you, that also you try to read and understand. Okay. So that's all. Anything else? So
Sir,
it's
just one last request.
uh,
Sir, not today, but next class maybe before Diwali. So
okay.
I'm just curious to know what everybody does on Diwali from Jainism side.
Okay. So in
Just
our
if,
temple, you have a temple in
yeah.
Dubai, right? Pandit Rites ji
Sir,
is there.
yeah, so it's my working day.
Okay.
So
So
we,
we have a
as a
we have
child, I
a
used to go Nirvan Laddu.
so we have a Nirvana Kand Pujan. Bhagwan Mahavir got liberated on that day. So in every temple we have this pujan, Nirvana Kand Pujan, and then there is a laddu, nariyal, what do we call it? Coconut.
That
Yeah,
dried coconut
yeah,
thing.
dry coconut. So that they just submit it there. So that's a ritual. But the basic is that we take inspiration from the life of Bhagwan Mahavir, how he was like us. And from there he rose and he became a Tirthankar and he got liberated. So the efforts that he put in those phases, that is very important, and that we can take motivation from there and imbibe whatever we can in our life and make our life happy. Okay. So that is the
Sir, sir, at home,
home you can study.
temple.
That is the best time to study. If you are at home, study. You celebrate Mahavir's Nirvan Kand with the study of scriptures. Okay. There is nothing else in terms of development. You have to study, study, study. The more you study, the same topic, you repeat it once again, again. Every time you will understand something new. Okay. So there is no other options for us. And of course, rituals are there. If you have access to those things, you can participate in that also. But if you are not able to do it, then Jinwani is there with us. You can take a printout and study on your own.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anything else, Rajeshri ji? Okay.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
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 Okay. निज निधि निज में बड़ा बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है।